everyone, it's Rendan, your boy, and today I'm excited to talk to you about a new-ish movie that's already well past its relevancy date, and that movie is Infinite.
What? No.
I'm not wearing any pants because I don't give a flying because I'm talking about a movie I really don't like, that a lot of people really do. Belle is an animation, I was going to say animation, which I guess it is, but it's an anime movie from last year that a lot of people raved about. This was a movie people couldn't stop talking about. It was the best anime of the year. Oh, it's so emotional. It's so heart-wrenching. Oh, I felt the movie tugging on my eyeballs as I cried my head off. And then I was like, okay. A lot of people love it. A lot of people are talking it up, gassing it up. So I'll watch it, a year later. And here I am talking about it way after its relevance has been completely lost. But anyway, the story is basically about this young girl whose life has been turned upside down by the death of her mother, so she goes into this virtual world to escape reality. Pretty simple setup. So the movie starts off in that virtual reality, and it's this hyper clean, polished, like CG animation that made me go, oh, I don't like that art style, really, in the U world it's called. I don't like that style of animation. So immediately I was off-put, but admittedly the real world stuff looks really nice. Hand-drawn look. I like it a lot. It looks good. Visually, it's a nice-looking movie. The voice acting, I watched the dubbed version. I don't know if there's a subbed version. I'm sure there is. But I watched the dubbed version. The voice acting's quite good. A lot of the songs are catchy. They're earworms. They get in there, and they don't come out for a while, even if the lyrics are just la 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 la. La 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 la. The last 20 minutes is so infuriating, I can't even describe to you how hot I was watching it. I was so heated. And I think I said like 4 or 5 times, don't do this. Stop this. Don't to the movie, because I didn't want it to go where I thought it was going to go. And then it went where I thought it was going to go, and it's the worst thing ever where this movie goes. It starts semi-interesting. Like I said, it's about a young girl whose life is, as she knows it, is over. Her mother dies trying to save a child in a flash flood or something. It's not completely explained, which is okay. She dies trying to save this child, but she gives the child her life jacket and ends up drowning. And the daughter that the mother left behind used to be a singer, a songwriter, but ever since her mom died, she can't sing anymore because, trauma. But in the U world, the virtual world, she can sing because apparently somehow this magical U world can enhance characteristics of people and make them like a insane version of themselves. So some people look like gorgeous women who could sing really well, like our main character, and some people look like horrible monsters with back bruises that look like modern art that aren't on the back. They're on a cape, which people keep saying is their back. And I was so confused. It's not his back. So why do you keep saying,
those bruises on his back, they are getting worse. I can't believe it. There's a couple new bruises on the beast's back.
And I'm like, that's his cape, though. What are we saying?
He's definitely working out some issues.
I think he's trying to show off the bruises on his back.
Is helping people a good thing? Yes, obviously. There's these 2 characters that were beaten by their dad horribly. One of them ends up being the Beast, which is that character with the back bruises, but it's a cape, the cape bruises. And one of them is his little brother, who you see in the movie as this tiny little floating angel thing with a tiny little crown, and he's constantly trying to protect his brother from his dad. That's an interesting plot development that does not show up until the last 20 minutes. For something this serious, you needed to know and like these 2 people, but you don't, because they are not in the movie until the last 20 minutes. They show one shot of them on TV getting interviewed, and that is it. And that's why this movie's frustrating. You have to have characters that are important to our main character's growth be important to the story. And they absolutely are not. Yes, the Beast is in a good chunk of the movie, but we don't know who the Beast is, and the Beast turns out to not be anybody close to our main character. I thought for the majority of the movie that her love interest, Shabubu, whatever his name was going to be the Beast. Because he's haunted by something. Everyone has skeletons in their closet is sort of what this movie's all about. Everybody has something going on that they're not letting you know about. And I thought it was going to be Shabubu was the Beast, and he had some trauma at home, just like what they did. But then for no reason, they decided to subvert my expectations and go with a character not introduced in the movie that has absolutely no connection to our main character outside of a virtual world.
Trespassing.
No, I followed the angel.
Then get out.
But
Get out now!
Hey everyone, Editor Rendan here. Something I wanted to point out that I forgot to is that they set up two love interests in this movie. Now why they do that? Your guess is as good as mine. Because they set up Shinobu, aka Shabubu, obviously, and they set up the Beast. There's even a moment when she goes to her choir club, which is a thing, and they all say, oh, she's in love, right after coming from the Beast.
Suzu was in love. With a bad boy, I bet.
I'm not. You're wrong. Why say that?
A guy she doesn't know, which, I've fallen in love with people online, of course, obviously, all the time. But why even set that up if it's not going to be Shabubu? Just goes to show you that you should be making characters in the virtual world, characters in the real world, that our main character can associate with. Now, is it more realistic that a random guy online turns out to be a random guy in the real world? Yeah. But is it satisfying narratively? No.
And now back to your regularly scheduled program.
And I think that's the thing that really frustrated me about this movie, is that all the emotional beats that it should have had, that should have been super satisfying, it either fumbles completely or just doesn't have them. Speaking of rushed emotional beats, I want you to imagine something for me really quickly. Now picture the scene in Everything Everywhere All at Once. My eyes are closed, but you can't see because of the sunglasses. There's a scene in Everything Everywhere All at Once where our main character, Michelle Yeoh, is talking with her daughter. And it's this really emotional scene between the two. They're crying. They're trying to figure out where their places are in the world together. And they're having this great conversation about it.
I will always want to be here with you.
Now, imagine that scene if it happened over text. Would it be that emotional? Would it be that resonant? No. And you know what this movie does? Pretty much that, but over text.
You are so kind. Because of the way Mom raised you. So, just keep on being that kind girl.
Now, I haven't had a movie that I've written produced yet. But if I had a scene where a main character has a troubled relationship with one of her parents, and then had a scene where they are trying to overcome it, I would not write it over text. You know why? Because it doesn't resonate. Because the two aren't having that conversation. They're over text, which means that Belle, after her father pours her heart out, can just say, thanks. LOL. Like I said, if you want to have a character with massive trauma, they have to overcome it themselves, typically. But in this case, it's she wants to go help these two random kids she barely knows with their abusive father. And the way she wants to do that is by randomly showing up at their house and them being on the street out of nowhere, and then her looking in the dad's eyes as he tries to throw her off of them so he can beat them up. And then she looks at him in his eyes and he can't punch her because no one stood up to him before, so he leaves. And then she goes, okay, you guys got it from here. And one of them goes, yeah, we'll start fighting now. And she goes, okay, see ya, and then leaves. You know what's going to happen to those kids? They're going to get an ass whooping. Nothing is going to change. You did nothing. You showed up to a random stranger's house and stood in the street and then left. I get, okay, there's some parallel with now she knows why her mom went and saved a random child and sacrificed her life to save a child. Now she kind of did that, but she didn't die, and she did nothing. Her mom literally saved a child from drowning. And in this, it's like, oh, you know, she saved a couple people from being abused for 30 seconds. And now she's fine again. That's not a satisfying payoff to our main character.
Because of you, I found strength I didn't know I had. I'm finally free.
Thank you.
Because we don't know these two people at all, aside from the virtual versions of themselves, which, as we can tell from Belle, really aren't who they are. And two, because these characters weren't connected to the story. When she comes out of the virtual world, it's like a completely different narrative. She falls in love with Shabubu, and there's a kayak guy that's just around, and he falls in love with this popular girl, who apparently the Belle character is based off her looks, and they're kind of having this, like, character drama, this indie character drama, and then they go into the virtual world, and it's Beauty and the Beast for no reason. The movie is a cluster of ideas that don't go anywhere or don't pay off in a satisfying way. It was so annoying. It was like scrolling through Twitter, seeing all these people that are thinking they're doing something by tweeting hashtag thoughts and prayers to whatever new cause is a thing, and doing nothing. You've done nothing! Oh, the Beast is actually the love interest. Wow! They fell in love with in the virtual world, and they were falling in love with in reality, so now they can just fall in love. Oh, I thought that was what was going to happen because it's tried and true territory. And if you had filled out that Shabubu character, it probably would have been satisfying. If you literally gave him the same arc as the two random characters, it probably would have been satisfying. But instead, Shabubu is not a character. He does nothing. He shows up and chides Belle every once in a while, and then pieces out. Or, I don't even remember our main character's name. I'm just going to call her Belle. He just pieces out, and that's it. The kayak guy falls in love with a girl and pieces out. The girl falls in love with the kayak guy and pieces out. The main character has her, like, secretary or her assistant or her Jarvis or whatever who runs her online version of herself and is like horrible. She donates all her money to charity, which is cool, I guess, but why can't she have any money? And then at the end, she is actively against our main character having an arc.
Hey hero, it's me, Belle, international pop star and superstar of you. I've just come to talk to my best friend, my trusted confidant, and my money manager for some reason about all the money I've definitely been making by being a megastar in the world of you. So, what's the good news? Can I buy a new Tesla, a new house, and all the things I could possibly ever want with all the money I could possibly ever need? Belle, it is good to see you. It is I, Hero, your best friend, trusted confidant, and money manager for some reason. I have come to inform you that all of your money has been donated to charity by me without your permission, because I know, without asking you, that you would like to remain anonymous, and if I was to give you the money, you would not be remained anonymous. You have nothing. You are still a broke child. As am I. Donated it to charity, huh? You know what this is?
You're probably worried about them tracking you from any profit you earn. But I already thought of that. We'll just auto-transfer all your profits to charity.
To be fair to this movie, she does attempt to do something. She shows up at a place to make herself feel good, which is the equivalent of white Instagram models going to Black Lives Matter rallies and then posting about it on Instagram. You feel like you're doing something, right? But you're really not. You just look good. And that's what Belle is all about. Looking good for cameras. Looking good for other people. But actively doing nothing. This movie.
Don't do this. Don't. Stop it. Stop. Stop. Don't do it.